Welcome to the Absolute Mom Sense Podcast. Today, our topic is not going to be so funny because I know that we like our funny topics and we like to talk and laugh and chat and joke and everything. But today, our topic is going to be a little bit more serious. I want to talk about online dangers, having kids online, predators, things like that because we're moms.
Yeah.
And social media is a huge part of life now.
Yeah.
I feel like when we were growing up, it was so. Like
I
some
remember,
people were really on it
Yeah.
and like into it and everything,
Yeah.
but most of the time, everybody was just kind of doing their own thing. Did you have a phone when you were a kid?
So we did have phones, but it was like you got charged per text, and like we would all call our friends after like 10 o'clock because then it's free kind of deal. But I remember even like learning what Google was.
Yeah.
I remember that. Like that was not just like a thing.
But like you didn't sit there on your phone.
No, there was nothing to do on your phone.
Right, exactly.
Like texting, you were like pushing the buttons like, hey. Like, like we were really fast with our fingers.
And so I'm like, all right, exactly. I got really good at texting. And I remember when it was charged per text too.
Yeah.
I had a phone because my mom worked really far away.
Yeah.
And so she needed ways to contact me quick.
Yeah.
And so I had a phone, but it was a flip phone with no color.
Yeah.
It was blue.
Yeah.
Like the screen.
Yeah.
So it's different now.
It's a whole new world. It really is.
And navigating it, I think, has been a challenge for a lot of parents.
Yeah.
Because some parents don't even know what's out there. Don't even know what's happening to their kids. Don't even know, like, what could happen.
Yeah.
And then you have some parents who kind of know and then are so afraid of it that they just try to cut it out of their lives completely. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's like, if you are faced with these options of, okay, this is going to happen to your kid, wouldn't you be like way more to the side of, then I don't want anything to do with it.
Yep, that's what we do.
And so it's a challenge.
Yeah.
And I feel like that because it's something so new, all of the sudden, it's really hard for parents to navigate how it's going.
Yeah.
So like my stance on this whole internet thing, and maybe we'll get more into how we feel, because I want to show some stuff. I want to show you guys some stuff because it's unnerving, the things that have happened.
So scary.
It's
you wouldn't even
terrifying.
know. You
It's sickening. And as a parent, as a mom, it's just mind blowing that this stuff is happening to children, little, tiny, pure, innocent children. So I want to show you this video. This video is from a mom on Instagram who she has her daughter. She is 13 years old and she is going online playing a game called Roblox, which I have never heard of before. And so it's this game, and I still don't know what the game is, but I know you can talk in the game.
Right.
So she's in the game, she's talking to friends,
Other
kids
players.
kids who she thinks that are her same age and are actually a predator. If you haven't seen it yet already, then this is going to be, it's going to shake you for sure. But this mom shares her story on Instagram because she wants to help to spread the word for all of the other parents, which I think is a huge thing and a great thing to do. Right. I know it's scary and it's embarrassing even as a parent to have to come forward and admit all of the things that have happened, but because she did, we all can learn from it. So before we show this clip, if you are around your kids, listening around them, watching this, please go to another room or have them go to another room, because like I said, I'm not gonna sugarcoat this. I'm not gonna be like, oh no, I'm just gonna give you a little bit. I'm gonna show you how it is. And it's disturbing. This is not the time for kids to be hanging out with you listening to this podcast. So there's your fair warning. Just listen to what this mom has to say.
One Saturday night, I was in my room working on some stuff and I got this overwhelming sick feeling. You need to go get your computer. And I went and got my computer and I checked the history, and she had been chatting with a certain account that was not anyone that I would ever want my child to be speaking to. She told me she was chatting with a little girl that was 11. And I think that's where most moms stop, because that's what you want it to be. If you don't think that a predator can do damage in 1 hour a day, you are wrong. He's always there, just ready to play with you and to tell you how smart you are and to tell you how great you are and to tell you that you have a great personality and he loves talking to you. So they all go over to TikTok where there's direct messaging. That's where they do their real work. There were times that he would tell her that if she really liked him, she would chop all her hair off, that she would dye it purple. He controlled her to the point that he would tell her when she needed to be on, when he wanted to talk to her. He told her to kill herself. He would beat her down so bad and tell her she was fat and ugly and nobody loved her. And then he would come back and say, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm here for you. I'm the only person that will ever love you. You guys, these predators are neighbors. They're coaches. They're school teachers. They have children. They have wives. And they're after our kids. 1 in 7 children are being groomed right this second.
Wow.
Insane.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah, that's scary.
It's unsettling to me because this mom, her daughter was playing Roblox. I've never heard of this game before. This is how out of it us moms can get, because we don't even know what's out there.
Yeah.
But they have this game that apparently all the kids are playing, and in this game, then you can chat. And so you can meet new people. And like she was saying, then they go over to TikTok. Now I know TikTok. Like I'm not that out of the loop. Right. And there's just all kinds of stories and horror things that happen on TikTok. And so I've completely just like, because I don't see the value that can bring anybody, really. But then they go there and then they start to form relationships with these predators, legit predators. And they don't know any better because they are children. Right. They're children. Yeah. And so when somebody says, oh, I'm 11, I'm a girl, this child is going to be like, oh, okay.
There's a friend, yeah.
Yep. That makes sense. I know all kinds of 11-year-old girls. What's the difference between being an online friend with an 11-year-old girl?
Yeah, they have no clue.
Versus in person. They don't know.
Yeah, they I think their brains couldn't even comprehend that that's even possible.
That somebody would just not be who they said they were.
Yeah.
Or what they said they were.
Yeah.
Can you imagine, though, being the parent? Like, what would you do?
I don't know. I feel like that's why I go to like the shutdown mode. Like we're just not even gonna have it.
I know.
So I felt the addictions for myself, and I've seen like the dangers myself. So like I delete TikTok. Like I just don't even have it, except for when my friends send me a link. then
you'll jump on and watch
Well, it's just like you can watch the link without having the
actual app.
But like seeing how crazy and outrageous some of the videos are and stuff, like I just pull my kids away, like, okay, we're just not gonna have that. We don't have the devices that can access it. We just like complete restriction, which I think then that's scary, because then your kids, if they ever get a hold of it, then they don't know how to handle it.
And then they
where's the balance?
Where do we go from here?
Yep.
So it is, like I was saying, this is a big deal.
It's way scary.
Huge.
Yeah.
And these kids, like I was saying, they're just so young. They don't know. Yeah. They don't know any better. Like for me, I'm like, okay, don't be dumb. Don't just talk to random strangers online. You don't talk to strangers in person. Why would you talk to strangers online? But they just can't comprehend.
They don't,
that it would be something that would be like scary.
Yeah, they don't even
dangerous.
Know. Which is crazy, because you think that you've like drilled it into your kids, don't talk to strangers, like stranger danger, right? But like I have a little boy who's on the Oculus headset playing games on there, because that's all fun, and he's in our room, and then we're like, who are you talking to? I don't know, it's just some guy in the game. We're like, what? And that's in our bedroom right next to us. Like we're watching a movie, like Friday and Saturday nights is electronics nights, we call it. And so he's literally right there, but it's in his own head. So like we can't hear what's going on, but all of a sudden he's talking to someone, and we're like, how?
Oh my gosh.
How is that even possible?
Yeah.
So and it's everywhere.
It's everywhere. Have you heard of the stories of like baby monitor cams? being hacked
I've
into.
heard of, I've heard the stories, but like we've never had
insane.
baby monitors, so I don't know.
I don't have one, but I'm like, because there's these technology pieces that are so valuable to parents because they're like, okay, if I can put if I can put a camera in my kid's crib and watch them, check on them and everything like that.
Why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't you? And it would be so valuable to be like, okay, now I can just watch them through the night and make sure that everything's okay. As moms, it's nice to have those things. And then you find out that there's people hacking into them. Yeah. And your kid's screaming bloody murder at night because they're afraid of the monsters. Yeah. Terrifying and like heartbreaking. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Where did that come from?
I'm so sorry. I had no idea. Yeah. But with this mom, with this girl specifically, she said she started to catch on because she used to be a really good student.
Yep.
Grades started to drop. She started to pull herself away from the social and family. She didn't want to hang out with her friends anymore. Right. She didn't, and she started to like sink into depression. Yeah. And I'm like, oh,
I think we're seeing that a lot more in kids, like in this generation, though, like depressed anxiety kids. Yeah. Like growing up, I didn't know what anxiety was. I feel like we had anxiety because like mom's coming home and the house isn't clean, right? Like that was our anxiety. Like, oh my gosh. But like these kids are like, and I feel like we can feel it in ourselves to like imagine what the kids are feeling. I know. Like literally if I'm on my phone for too long, I start feeling anxious. And I'm like,
and
like,
just
and I'm an adult,
even?
so I can like where is this coming from? I can like start to go within myself, but like kids don't know how to do that. I know. They're just like they
don't even know how to
they don't know what it
those
is.
Feelings even.
Yeah.
And it's just I don't know. It's just terrifying to me, and I'm just
run.
I know,
like run to the mountains, and we'll live there.
So, on this whole online kids and how to navigate it, I found something really interesting from a mom who posted somewhere that she is trying to navigate how to do the online thing, and she doesn't know what to do. She doesn't know how to do it. This mom asks, what do you do to protect your kids online? She says, I'm getting so frustrated with technology. It's a constant fight. It's been going on for 10 years, but it's getting worse. If we take the phone away, the kids steal them or convince their siblings to use their device to get online. We have a daughter that is on Discord. We keep telling her to stop talking to strangers on the website, but she keeps doing it. I've come to the conclusion that every other family can be divided into two groups. One, they don't have a clue what their kids are doing online, so they sleep soundly, believing their kids are saints. Or two, they just don't care. And even if I do block it, the kids will find another device to use to get to it.
Kids are so smart.
I know.
It will blow your minds.
What they can do.
And how they literally, like, you really do think you have a handle on it, and they know all about your handle. Like, they can figure ways around everything. We've looked into the router blocker things and everything, and, like, it really is as simple as, like, unplugging the protection thing. Like,
and then that's that.
What? Like, our brains don't even go there like, oh, we'll just unplug this. Like, we just think that's blocked. It's not.
I know. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Like, as parents, because we didn't grow up in this.
We're not set to handle
this. We didn't have all of these abilities. I remember having to try to figure out how to use the computer and how to use Google and what it even was, and let alone trying to hack something or get around blocks. Like, honestly, if I think of myself then, if there was a block, I would have been like, oh, okay.
Done.
Done.
Oh, it's there.
But to try to figure out how to get around it.
Yeah.
You know, and then you have different issues where you're like, okay, these kids, they can't play video games. Yeah. They can't have a phone. Yeah. But their friend has video games. Oh, but their friends have phones. Mm-hmm. And they're around them all day at school.
Right.
And so then you just sit and then there they go. Yeah. On the phone that you tried so hard to protect them from, on the video games that you put your hard no on, nothing. You can't keep it out. Yeah. You can't. And so I get what this mom is saying when she's like, well, either they think that their kids are so perfect and it's happening right under their noses.
Just ignoring it.
Or they just don't care, because it starts to feel that way as a parent, because you're like, what do I even do? Yeah. What do I even do? But as I was reading through the responses on this thread that this mom asked it, there was another mom who came back with some awesome advice. And even I was like, oh my goodness, finally something that somebody's helping us.
Help us.
Parents to know what to do.
Yeah.
So I'm going to read you that because this is good stuff. And if you're looking for ways to help your kids, we have some answers, at least something to go from. So this mom says that she does include the internet, online things in her house. And she has from quite a young age with her kids. She supervised the kids very, very closely in the beginning and gradually started to ease up as they got older. Now her kids are 16 and 18. She doesn't have to keep tabs on their social media use anymore, which to me, I'm like, that's mind blowing because I feel like that's when it gets rough.
Right.
Is it 16 to 18? But like at like 13, they just don't know enough yet.
Yeah.
So unless you have like a really, really smart 13-year-old that's going to go around all the blocks and everything, I feel like that doesn't quite happen until around 15, 16. Am I wrong?
I think you're wrong. My, like my 10-year-old even can, like, I'm like,
starting to figure it out.
Not trying to figure out the blocks, but like if I have like, I need help on my phone, like they know everything.
Your 10-year-old.
Literally, like, can you guys help me unlock this? Or like they can figure out anything. My iPhone, so I have a work iPhone, and I could not for the life of me like figure out how to turn on the ringer. I'm not even kidding you. And so my kid comes over, oh, it's just this button right here. I'm like,
and then there you go.
They just figured it out. I'm like, I worked 4 hours. I used Google. Like I could not figure this out. Like these kids I'm noticing younger and younger age, like they know way more about everything. Like there's sites I didn't even know about
that existed.
Yeah, and there's like messaging going on Pinterest, y'all. Pinterest.
I didn't know that.
There's messaging on Pinterest. You can access TikTok from Pinterest. I'm telling you, like these, like I thought Pinterest was like a safe site for like even like my little girls to like find cute clothes and like all the cute things that they like. It's just fun with their friends. They have their boards and stuff. No. Okay.
But even still, like, okay, so 16 and 18, she doesn't have to monitor anymore. Obviously, this is ideal.
Yeah.
Wouldn't we all love to be able to be like, oh no, go for it.
Yeah.
And just open gates at 16 and 18.
Yeah.
But she does say, however, when they were younger, we kept the computer in the main part of the house so that they were never entirely alone on the computer. I taught them basic netiquette, which is the etiquette on the web, if you didn't know, because I didn't. I taught them to identify problem behavior and what to do about it, and she taught them how to guard their personal information. Once, when her son was about 7, he decided to search bikini bottom. Which, I mean, I found this funny because the first thing that came into my mind was SpongeBob.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But of course, that's not what Google pulls up.
Yeah.
So, of course, he gets actual bikini bottoms on butts instead of SpongeBob. Immediately, he turns off the screen and came and got Mom. Wow. And his eyes are as wide as saucers. She told him he did a good job and not to worry. And she tells... I think we're good on that.
I'm reading it.
But she's basically saying, like, trust me, you're not going to go blind because you saw this. In general, though, her kids don't get in any trouble online. They got them their own laptops in grades 6 and 7. We've never used any child locks or anything like that. Never saw the need. So here's what I think is the difference for this mom. Because the first mom says either you think your children are saints and it's happening right under your nose, or you just don't care. I think there's a third option.
What is it?
Teach them.
Right.
When they're young. She started with them really, really young to teach them how to manage things on the computer, what you can use the computer for, how to use the computer, things that you can and can't do, ways that you can and can't access things. And even like this with this example with the bikini bottom. If she didn't sit down and teach her kids what could happen and all the things would he have come and got her?
Yeah.
Or would that be the start of
the secretiveness?
Yeah. And then lead to an insane addiction because he was so young.
Right.
Because I know that that's happened with a lot of children because they get exposed to something like that, but they don't ever go and tell.
Yeah.
Even when it's shocking, because it's always shocking at the first and for young kids. Right. It does shock them. But if they don't have somewhere that they can go, or if they feel like the place that they are supposed to go, they're just going to get in trouble.
Then they start hiding. Yeah.
They start hiding, and it starts to lead to some serious issues. And once you have those serious issues, that's when parents are like, I don't know what to do.
Right. It's overwhelming.
We're stuck. Yeah. We're caught in the loop.
Right.
And we're toast, basically. Yeah. Like, how do you come out of this? Right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay, so as parents, I feel like we need to familiarize ourselves with online.
Yes. Yep.
And all the games and, like you were saying, Pinterest that you can message on, which I had no idea.
Who knew? Who knew?
And like go through these things and know what it is, know all the parts and pieces, and not try to hide it from the kids.
I feel like even though if you try to know it, so like I have Instagram, and I feel like I have never ran into trouble. Besides, like you see like girls in bikinis everywhere, right?
Yeah.
But I have never ran and like just had things pop up or never seen the harm. I've never seen it on there. I do feel like when kids have access to that, they are targeted. I feel like there's no way for us to, unless we get onto their accounts, like you would never know.
Right.
I really don't think that we can learn it without being in their shoes.
Right.
So like,
but then, yes, exactly. So be in their shoes, but then also make sure that there is a relationship between you and your kids.
Yep.
Because if they come across something that is scary or that they have questions or something like that, who's going to help them?
Yeah.
They're going to have to try to figure it out on their own.
Or go to their friends or like not the best sources sometimes.
Exactly.
So...
And then that's when you get into trouble. And you think that you have this good relationship with your kids, but if you're not involved in their lives, and if and like you were saying, get in their shoes, get on the app with them.
Absolutely.
Get in their account with them. Not in I'm going to try to check and see what you're doing. What are you spending your time? Because then they feel like you're accusing them.
And they get really good at hiding things too.
And then they start to get defensive.
Yeah.
And then they're like, she's looking for something.
Yeah.
Then maybe I should start hiding things.
Right.
And then they get good at that.
Yeah.
But if you don't come at it like that, if you're more like, hey, let's
talk about
chill.
This. Yeah.
Let's hang out. Let's see what it is.
Yeah.
And when you see things like that, they're messaging people, then you can talk to them.
Yeah.
I mean, you should have already talked to them before.
Yeah.
But if they start to message them, talk to them, tell them what can happen. If they're young enough or if they're smart enough to go around all the blocks, if they can do all this stuff, then they're old enough to be able to know what is on there.
Yeah.
The predators, the scary things that can happen, the dangers, all of these things.
I feel like I have been completely naive though until we like started looking into some of these things. Like I have not had this conversation with my kids even.
I know.
And I have like a 17-year-old. Like we have not sat down and had this conversation, and it scares me.
It's hard.
That's like guess what we're gonna do for family home evening. Like we're gonna have real conversations. There's some really good videos out there to show your kids and
teach
show
them
both sides, like the predator on one side and the kid who's being like scammed or whatever.
Yeah.
Like there's some good sources.
Exactly.
And it's so scary.
Well, one of the things that I was thinking is I thought if sex ed can be taught at such a young age, and especially in the public school systems, that's being pushed to be taught at such young ages.
And all like the DARE program, like the drugs, like kids know all about drugs just from that program.
So I'm like,
why don't we know about this?
If all of this stuff can be taught at such a young age, then this can be taught at such a young age. It should be.
Yeah.
It has to be. If we don't tell them and teach them what is there, how will they know?
Well, I need to be taught. Like, I feel like this, my parents didn't have to go through this with me. Like, we're kind of the first generation that's like having to go through this with our kids.
That's being faced with these challenges.
Yeah.
This is like a whole new set.
Somebody come teach me so I can teach my kids.
I'm like, I think of parents, like my parents' ages and older. I'm like, oh, you had it easy. That was easy. I mean, I don't know what it was like back then, but I'm like, it seems to get worse and worse. So I'm like, if I could take myself back then and be like, okay, no internet, bring,
yeah,
done.
Yeah.
You know?
Remember waiting for things to load? That's how our internet was. Like you were literally sitting there like 10 seconds for a page to load. And now if my phone's not like instant, I'm like,
what is wrong with you?
Yeah, like turn it off, like start it over.
I know. So
I'm
like,
a whole new world.
It is, but having things like this where parents are experiencing it, because this mom tried it. She did. Yeah. She tested it out when her kids were young, and now they're 16 and 18. And they're hanging in there pretty well.
Yeah, I think we need to teach our kids to be able to manage them, because I think as technology is growing more and more and more, it's becoming more impossible to just keep it you just can't have it.
Exactly.
Like, my kids need computers for school.
Yes.
And
do you want their first exposure to that to be when they're older? Because this mom says another thing that's really interesting that I love that she says. She says she thinks the trick is to start addressing the issues when the kids are still young enough to listen to you.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah, you know what I mean? Because my kids are still very young. My oldest is almost 10.
Yeah.
And she listens to me.
Yeah.
All of them.
Yeah.
When I say something, they believe me.
Right.
When I tell them things, when I teach them things, they have no reason to question me. They have no reason to doubt. They have nothing like that. And I have heard several stories, plus I've been a teenager before.
Yeah.
As they get older, they want to start figuring things out by themselves. And they think, oh, mom's dumb. She doesn't know.
She's old. Yeah.
She's old.
My friends know better.
She's out of the times. And, and if you've never told them anything up to that point, and then they hit that age where they're just like, she doesn't get it anyways.
Yeah.
Even if we did get it, but a lot of times they're right.
Yeah.
We don't get it.
Yeah.
But even if we did get it, they wouldn't listen to us.
Yeah.
Unless you started when they were young.
That's a hard subject for me, though, because at what age do you want to ruin their innocence? Because I really feel like I have an 8-year-old, and he's just so sweet. Clueless. He would have no idea. I'm not going to go introduce this to him.
Right.
So that's hard for me.
I think that there are probably levels. I don't think that I would jump straight into being like, oh, these bad guys can come and get you off of your computer.
Yeah.
Because I have an 8-year-old who, the same thing, she's very sweet, she's very innocent, but then besides that, if I tried to tell her some of these danger things, it would freak her out.
Yeah, do you want that?
And she would panic. And I tested it out because I actually heard of a mom who her boys were playing with walkie-talkies. Mm-hmm. And they were just playing in the house with the walkie-talkies, and then somebody else connected to the channel that they were on. And they started talking to them and being like, oh, what's your name?
Oh, my
How old are you?
Really?
Where's your house?
Wow.
Where's your address? And you have to be within a certain range to be able to connect to the same channel, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the mom walks in to this stranger's voice on the walkie-talkie. And she's like, what is going on? And the kids are like, oh, we're just talking to this friend. So she turns off the walkie-talkies instantly. But I'm like, okay, my kids have walkie-talkies. They're fun. I thought it was a toy. You know what I mean?
Literally.
I know.
Things you wouldn't even think of. Your brain couldn't even think
But that's why I'm
possible.
saying thanks to the mom for telling me that.
For spreading the word, right?
Because I'm like, I had no idea that I just wouldn't have even thought of it.
Yeah.
It makes sense. Okay, yeah, I could see how somebody could do that, but I just wouldn't have even thought of it.
Yeah, I wouldn't even,
So then I tried to tell my kids that and be like, never talk to strangers. Sometimes this happens. And I tried to tell them the story in a very, very light way to just be like, somebody got on walkie-talkies and started talking to these kids.
Yeah.
You have to be careful not to share these things. And she was terrified. And she was like, I don't want the walkie-talkie anymore. She's like, I don't want anything to do with this. I'm so scared. Traumatized. And I was like, oh, okay, how then?
Yeah.
So I think that they're really good questions, because you're like, okay, you do have to start when they're young and they actually listen to you.
Yeah.
But how much can you
expose them to?
Yeah. But that's why I say, but then, okay, so then we try to teach them sex ed.
Yeah.
Or maturation, whatever you want to call it. I think with those steps that you start to take with those things, you add on some of this stuff too in stages.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't go to my 4th grader and be like, okay, here's the full-on lesson.
Right.
They're not ready for it.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
I don't think they are.
I don't think that they are. I think that they're too precious. They're too innocent. And I don't want them to just, whoa, you know? But you take them in stages.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, it's hard.
I know. But I think that there is a way to do it to where you just take it in stages and you just say, okay, if you're online, these are the things that you can do.
Yeah.
These are the things that you can access.
Yeah.
If this happens, because I've had to tell my kids, if you have ads that pop up or things like that, because those
those
crazy
are insane.
Things have just right in front of their faces, just like
on
that.
kid games.
I know.
Like,
so then, like, what are they supposed to do?
Yeah.
So I feel like you do have to give them that kind of warning to be like, when this happens, or if you see something like this, come tell me.
Yeah.
Come tell me, and then you handle it like that mom did with the bikini bottom.
Yeah.
Like, okay, thanks for coming and telling me you're okay.
Yeah.
You're safe. You know what I mean? It'll be
Little
all right.
scarred, but you're gonna be okay.
It'll be okay. So this mom says, so rather than ban the internet until they're in middle school, which happens a lot, because in middle school, I think that's when kids need computers and online access for their school.
I have found that
Right?
there's like literally no need for it before then.
Right. So like that's what I'm saying. In elementary, you don't really need online programs for school.
And all of a sudden you hit.
Then all of a sudden middle school.
Here's the world.
Right. So then she's saying, don't just sit there and ban the internet until they get into middle school and then expect them to know how to behave.
Yeah.
Because that's their first exposure to it. It's better to start young and instill the good habits right away than let them mistakes while you're right there with them.
Yeah.
So that you can walk them and coach them through it. You can still be able to correct them.
I feel like if you can get them, I don't know, almost like skip that. Like you're going to skip the 13 to 18, like all the garbage, then like you're kind of past it. Like I feel like I really don't have issues, like scary issues. I don't know what age it goes to. Maybe like, I'm sure like even the 22-year-olds are vulnerable. But I don't know, like, is there a way to just skip this? As far as like phones go, that's the thing is like, I haven't had this conversation with my kids. And so I feel like I'm a little nervous now because even before like doing some research on this, I didn't realize how bad it was.
Yeah, I know.
I had no clue. Like we've had a few incidents, like run-ins here and there, but for the most part, like our laptops are super protected. So we sit down for homework hour after our babies go to bed. All the junior high sits down. We have it at the kitchen table. Okay, now turn all the electronics back into mom for the night. So everything comes up to my bedroom with me. And then phones, like we do like the Gab and the Pinwheel phones, which my kids hate. Like this, because they have to pay for their own phones, right? But they have to have their phones.
Right.
I mean, we literally, like, we say you have to have a phone because I need to be able to get a hold of them. And now you have drivers. So we have to have safe phones. And then we have tried the blocks, the internet blocks, like the Griffin and all that, and literally unplug those. So that doesn't work. But I think close monitoring and then having them in the room with us, it's hard. That's what when they're saying it's like it feels like a constant fight, it does for us. Yeah, it's always like the newest protection comes out, like we buy it, we try it, okay, that didn't work next. So
and you're constantly trying to find what is going to work.
Yeah
It
is so hard. And just running, like when we found out on the Pinterest situation, that's like that things blow your mind, like how is this even possible? Then you're like, nothing's safe. Like we just can't have
everything cut it all out. I know.
I definitely feel super awkward talking to my kids about sex ed, or like I wouldn't feel so awkward talking to them about predators. I would feel comfortable with that, and like we really are gonna have a home evening to educate the kids on that. But like I definitely feel awkward.
In what ways? Because I haven't gotten up to, so like I've done my own maturation type of stuff with my kids, But see, maturation to me is their own bodies maturing.
Yeah.
Sex ed is everything else.
Okay, so I do
like
feel
opposite gender and everything. And so I haven't gotten to that stage with my kid. They're still little.
Yeah.
In my opinion. I think we still need some time to like work our way there. Yeah. But I do feel like I started talking to my daughters about it when they were 7, 8. Started talking to them about their own bodies. And I feel like once I did, it's amazing. It opens up a connection.
Yeah.
That's different than it was before.
So now you're gonna have boys coming up. So I definitely feel like moms with the girls and dads with, I feel more comfortable with that.
I do too.
But I feel like even 7 and 8 for me, that feels like it's like wrecking their world. Like all their innocence is gone. So I
thought so, but honestly, every single time that I would sit down with them, then so here's my theory. My theory is first story home wins. Okay. So I think the first thing that your child is exposed to, or the first place that they hear, or the first, explanation of it, is what sticks with them. And so if I am the first person to tell them what happens to their body, what's this, then now I have this connection with them.
Yeah.
And somebody else will tell them something and they're going to go, well, that's not what my mom said. So that must be wrong, because the first thing that they heard was this.
Yeah.
And then because we've built this connection, they come and tell me, hey, my friend said this. What do you think about it?
Yeah.
Do you know? Do you know what this is? Whereas if the first thing that they hear about it, or their first exposure to it, is from somebody else, that is what sticks with them. Then when I try to tell them something, then they go, well, that's not what my friend said, so mom must not know. Wow. So then you don't have the connection where they'll come back to you to tell you what they're hearing.
Yeah.
Because I started talking to her, and I kid you not, within weeks, friends were starting to talk. Oh. And she was in 3rd grade. Oh. And I was like, oh, thank goodness we already talked, because she came right home to me and she's like, hey mom, this friend said da 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 da. And I was like, okay.
Wow.
So here's the situation. And so I talked her through it, and I was like, this is what I've already explained to you. This is how it is. Your friend is a little confused, and then because I was the first person to tell her, then she was like, okay, mom knows everything.
Yeah.
So then there's a trust there. And I'm like, okay, I got it. So
why are you not talking to me? I need help.
No,
I'm like, they come home from their maturation 4th and 5th grade, right? And I'm like, so you got it?
You good?
Like, if you have questions, like, you can come ask. But
I know,
like, you
but
got
see,
it.
That's the thing, is because I feel like that's how it was for me. And my mom would say, you can come and ask. I never did.
Yeah, we didn't go ask.
I never asked her.
I don't know, though, because I feel like my girls really do come and ask.
That's
like,
good.
So after that, I'm like, hey, you've been introduced. Like, hi.
I know.
Like, I felt like as soon as I like hit a problem, like,
then
oh,
you're like,
crap,
maybe I should start
my
talking.
daughter's on Pinterest, and like there was chatting going on, and it was, I mean, we did do the investigation, and like it was just her and her friends and stuff like that, but like at that time, that was probably a good time to be like, hey, there could be like somebody scary coming in. Mm-hmm. Like, watch yourself.
Yeah.
I'm gonna talk to us. Like, maybe no more Pinterest.
Yeah. See, and in my opinion, I think you're right. With the predators, I think that's a much easier conversation to have with kids.
It feels easier to me.
It just does.
Yeah.
And I think it's probably because how we were raised.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't talked about much, and so it feels awkward.
Yeah.
So,
but it's like gonna be super real in our kids' lives. So like we're gonna have to toughen up.
But like, honestly, like, what would you guys do as moms? Yeah. How do you think that it's okay to start talking to them about like legit the things that are online, the things that they will see, the things that they will be exposed to?
Tell
Comment.
us.
tell us, how old do you start telling them each of these things? And if you've had any experiences with any of your kids at any ages online or anything that you've done to help prevent some of this stuff, let us know in the comments, because I mean, we're all looking for the answers.
We're all
I feel
learning this together too. Like, this is really the generation that's going to have to face these problems with their kids. And with all of these
moms' experiences, when they talk and share them, it just helps.
Yeah.
It just helps us as moms, because it's like some of the stuff we had no idea. We had no idea.
Like
we
the
were
walkie-talkies.
I know.
All the kid games, like the ads popping up. That's a new thing. Like, apparently there's like kid toys that like will like randomly like have demonic like voices coming out of them. Like throw them all away.
I didn't even know that was possible.
Back to the wooden blocks.
So tell us, comment and let us know. But this other mom, she gives some specific rules that she has for her children when they're online.
Okay.
So I think that this is also going to help us to know what we do. Here are some of her rules. She has: never tell anyone online where you will be or what you will be doing.
Right.
Which I think that, see, this is what I'm saying. Like, I feel like that some of these stuff are common knowledge, but like, did you tell your kids that? Have you told your kids these yet?
No, because you wouldn't even expect your kid to be in that situation.
No, but then they
like,
get put in that situation.
Would blow my mind.
I know.
If one of my kids was talking, like, but then it happened.
I know.
Like, oh, help.
Anyway, and this goes into like the walkie-talkie thing. So like, don't ever tell anyone where you are, what you're going to be doing. Yeah. Then she has: never respond to or send email to new people that you meet online. I also like what she says. Remember, it is okay not to answer every single email and instant message.
And that's hard.
I know.
Yeah.
Even for me, it's hard not to respond to things when, I mean, I suck at doing it on time. I always kind of put it off. But like, you do feel the obligation. But I like being able to tell my kids, you don't have to. You don't have to respond to these emails. You don't have to. If there's somebody who's saying things that are uncomfortable to you, you don't like, you're fine. Just stop talking. There. Just like that.
Delete.
You don't have to feel bad about it either.
Right.
You know? So being able to make that a rule specifically. Never send a picture over the internet or via regular mail to anyone that you've met on the internet. I like that.
It would blow my mind if my kids were even sending pictures to their friends. Like, even just like cute, like the selfie thing. Like, nah,
not happening.
You guys know that I cannot do pictures for the life of me. That would be a hard one.
Yeah. Always tell someone you know about anything that you saw, intentionally or unintentionally, that is upsetting. So this is like that thing where if you see something, because I don't know, like, do you have to specifically tell your child if you see a naked person on the computer, if you see right? Or is it more just something that it's like, if you saw something that made you feel, because it would,
if it made you feel icky,
if it made you feel icky, because I mean, there are things like demons or anime things or things like that I would also expect that they would come and tell me about, even though it's not nudity. It's still not something that makes you feel good. And so then that's something that I would be like, okay, but that's my question is, do you have to like explain in detail if you see this specifically, or is you hope that it's, if you see anything that's upsetting, then come and talk to me or dad, right? And then children should have gender neutral screen names. I liked that one. Because I was like, if you, and not specified to age, not specified to gender.
Because then you're not target as much.
Because then it's not obvious who and what you are. Right?
I really do think that's important, because like I'm saying, like on my Instagram, I don't, like, I've had like a few like weirdos like reach out and be like, hey, you're beautiful. Like I'm just like, I'm obviously like delete. Like I'm not even gonna, like, this is a joke.
Whatever you see that and you're just like, oh, thank you.
But like for me, like, then you're not a target. So I think that's important.
I like that. And I think that if my kids were to ever have social media underage or anything like that, that I would put a restriction on photos at all. I wouldn't do the profile photo, because if I'm going to be like, okay, gender neutral name, profile name or whatever, and no age, I don't want the picture on there.
So would you ever let your kids have social media? Like, let's start like Instagram and TikTok. Would you let your kids have it?
Well, I don't have TikTok. I I have honestly never been on TikTok, so I
You've
can
never
say,
been on it, like the app?
No, I have never been on the app. I've gotten those, like, people send TikToks, but you don't have to have the app to view it. So I've, like, seen TikTok things, or I've seen on Instagram when something gets brought over from TikTok, or I've seen, like, on YouTube when they react to things on TikTok. Right. But I've never been on TikTok before. So I don't think that I would ever let my kids be on it, but I would try to do it in a way that's not like, oh, TikTok is bad, I want you off of that, because I feel like then they start to be like, well, why?
Right.
And then there's a curiosity.
But your kids are going to get to an age where their friends are on.
Yeah, they already are.
So are you going to let your kids?
Yeah, because I mean, my kids have come and told me that all their friends are on TikTok.
Yeah.
And that they're all watching
that they have
these things.
That they're on it, like on their parents' app, or they have their own profile.
They must be on their parents' apps.
Yeah.
But regardless, they are scrolling through TikTok by themselves.
So are you going to let your kids set up accounts?
That's a good question.
Okay, so we had the dilemma that we had some friends that were doing YouTube videos and setting up, like they were out skateboarding and doing some cool stuff. And I'm like, honey, Jonathan, like, I think this is cool. Like, I personally as a parent would love to watch my kids and see what they come up with. So we had that come up, and it was an ongoing discussion. We paused and we're like, hey, let's think about this for a minute. Should we let our kids set up their own YouTube channel? Because that would be so cool to watch, to see, like, their creativity come out.
Right.
So, and then their friends had it, and it was just cool to, like, see each other's pages and stuff. So we decided that's a no. Just because it was so unknown what could happen. And then next thing is like TikTok. So we have really like cool videos, again, like the skateboarding thing, and their friends are out doing hilarious like dancing things and stuff. And I'm like, it's kind of cool and kind of fun to watch. But like,
I don't know. I feel like that I just think a TikTok is a hard pass for me. I just feel like that opens up way more.
There's like two sides to it though.
Yeah.
But like you can get to the dark side real quick.
Right.
So it's hard.
And so I'm like, but like you were saying, Instagram, I feel like has been a lot more guarded.
You think it is, but like even like something as innocent as Pinterest, like
not know.
So my girls had their Pinterest boards, and they're like saving the cute shoes and all these like cute little sayings, and then they're like it goes to a dark side so fast. Yeah. Like they have like things saved on like anxiety and like I'm depressed and like this darkness. I'm like, what is going on? Like this is not even my child.
Yeah.
And then there's the chat boards that you didn't even know about.
That you didn't even know existed.
Yeah. But then all their friends are on there.
That's the thing. At some point, I think I'm going to, like, I think my kids are going to have social media. I don't know what that will look like yet. Yeah. I don't know which apps they'll have. I don't know. But I would hope that in the meantime, that I've taught them how to manage or be on social media, or what you can do with it, or how it would benefit you in what ways, or you know what I mean? Because I think that there are some things like with YouTube, I would be more lenient to letting my kids be more active on YouTube before I would be more lenient as them being active on TikTok or Instagram or things like that, because there's not, I mean, I think that there is messaging on YouTube. YouTube has so much
besides like our channel.
It's a good thing we're all on all podcasts.
No, like my kids used to go on YouTube to like listen to a song. We have completely banned it because we have run into so many problems on YouTube. My
girls have gotten on there to get like to practice gymnastics and moves and things like that.
That's what we run into. Like they have choir that they're supposed to practice like this song. Yeah. And I'm like, hey, we're gonna pull up this song, but they have to be monitored the whole time. Like there's so much garbage on YouTube.
That is true. So like we have a tablet that my kids are allowed to play on, but they don't get on the internet on that. So YouTube is on the one TV in our family room. Okay. So if they're practicing gymnastics, if they're singing a song, if they're doing anything, it's on that TV and in the main part of the house. Yeah. And I'm usually the one controlling it. I'm casting to it. Yeah. They're still young. Yeah. So, you know, they know how to navigate it. But also I've been really proud because my oldest daughter, there have been times where ads would come up on the YouTube things, or like a video that didn't say something right, or one time, honestly, it was, I think, Coco Melon, and it said, do you want to do something that the parent was asking the kid, do you want to do it? And the kid was saying, no, I don't want to do it. And she was like, oh, skip. Nope. Wow. And I was like, thank you. You know what I mean? Because she's monitoring. Or even like when we have music playing in the house with Pandora, and then a song comes on that is not a good song, that doesn't carry the vibe that I want in my house, she'll skip it. Yeah. And she's monitoring things because she's like, I know what we like and what we don't like. Yeah. So I think it's helped a lot to have it be in the home. Yeah. Where in open areas.
Get rid of your tablets.
Yeah. Not somewhere where they can go alone to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it really is a scary world, and that like you're saying, your girls are good at like skipping the bad songs and stuff. Mm-hmm. So I think as your kids get older and that they do have more access to social media and online stuff,
start to explain it a little bit more.
You're gonna be able to explain it. I think you're gonna start seeing more targeted stuff. Yeah. Because I see different problems with the boys and with the girls. Yeah. Honestly, like the girls are definitely more, and on their, like, they're targeted more on like their security. Yeah. Like how they look, and if they're told that they're pretty and stuff like that.
Yeah. It's a journey.
But can't we just block it until they're like 25?
I know,
like,
right?
My kids get home and I'm like, you're not allowed in the house today, you guys. Like, everybody just go outside and play.
Go play.
Like, put the babies to bed. Everybody says, like, I'm trying to keep it as controlled and protected as possible, because I think that it would be unsmart to not super block everything that you possibly could until their brains are more developed. Because
I think
what
that
are
there's
parents
definitely
for?
Yes, exactly.
You should
I think
protect
that
your
there's
kids.
definitely a happy medium, because you have these parents who will axe everything, and then those are the ones that sneak everything. Yeah. And then you have parents who just open all doors, and those are the ones that are causing all the problems for everybody else. Yeah. Because there's no monitoring.
There's no filter for those things, yeah.
And then you have the happy medium where it's like, okay, we have it, but I am going to coach you through this entire process. I'm going to teach you how to be on the computer. I'm going to teach you how to be on the internet. I'm going to teach you how to do da-da-da-da-da. And when you face something, I'm going to be right there with you. I'm going to be on this journey with you, instead of it being something where it's just complete open or nothing at all.
Yeah, I agree.
Right?
I agree.
So I think that there's definitely a happy medium. And I also think that they don't have to constantly be on the internet.
That's
go outside.
What I'm saying. Like, why are we giving our kids access? And like there's even studies on how much it ruins our brains, like the video gaming and everything,
the screen time, all kinds of things that are still, things that you have to watch and monitor. It's not just when they're online; it's how much are they online, right? Because it will start to affect their mental health.
We feel it within ourselves.
We feel it.
So how's it doing with the kids that are undeveloped brains?
Exactly.
I'm going to go home and I'm going to crawl in my bed and hide for a little while, guys.
We're going to pretend that this doesn't exist anymore.
Like, I really do try to make so.
Anyway.
I give up.
So, good luck on your journeys with online.
And everybody help each other too. Let's have a community.
But then besides that, share your experiences. Yeah. Share your knowledge. If you've learned something on the way from somebody else or in your own experiences, please share that with us, because
talk about it.
Or with any mom in your circles, in your communities and everything. If we can band together and teach each other and help us go through this, then I don't think that we'll face as many of the hurtful and terrifying and scary challenges that are out there, because we have each other to learn from.
I think a lot of parents are scared to open up and say, this happened to me.
I know.
And this happened to our kids, because then they're afraid that people are going to judge their kids.
Yes.
It's happening to everyone, everywhere. Let's all help each other.
If somebody has the nerve to judge, we talked about mom shaming.
It's coming karma is coming.
Do not do it. Yeah. But besides that, I can almost guarantee you will have way more moms thanking you than judging you.
Yep. Absolutely. So, I think so.
We will. So comment your experiences, comment things that you've learned. Like this video so that we can get the message out there and spread the word. Spread awareness to all of this, the dangers that can happen online. And we'll get through it. We will. Together we'll make it through this.